It's called the Christmas. It got, oops, I went too far. It got started where they really wanted to see in a controlled area how many are being seen, and then let's start comparing year after year after year. And the big difference, I mean, you go back then, they didn't have very many people counting, right? It was like mostly the hunters, right? And so now, as you see, there are 2,600 active count circles in the Americas and the Pacific Islands. It's really an American, I'll say an American thing because it was started by the National Audubon Society. They're the ones who oversee it. So what is the circle? It's defined as a radius of 7.5 miles across, and our center is in the Hadley Cemetery. And if you really want to know, I can get you the longitude and latitude, and you could go into that cemetery and find where actually it is. I don't know if it's on a gravestone, but it could be, right? And initially, in our count, we focused on just going out all the teams, and we really didn't have the mechanism for setting up feeder watchers. And so slowly we started advertising it, setting up what to do. And now about 15% of our participants are feeders. And, you know, we have urban feeders. We have people who live more in the country, and they say, okay, I got ducks in my pond right there. I got, you know, a bald eagle flying over. So the feeder count birds vary wildly in our area. One of the things, if you're interested in saying, is Calgary has huge feeder watchers, and the city of Concord, Mass. I think they have a huge number of feeder watchers. But a lot of places never emphasize that. And we are emphasizing it more and more, certainly to be inclusive. Those of us who are getting older, we're like, heck, I don't want to be out tromping out there. It's too cold, right? And yet I'm fascinated with birds. So I want to be involved, but I don't need to be out in the cold. And several of us go out in the field for some time and then come back and then watch our feeders also. So if that's something that interests you, let us know. Okay, how do I know I'm in the count circle? Does everybody know how to find out? Can you see the map? Can anybody see the map?
No.
Link, no map yet.
No map. Okay.
Can you put that link in the chat?
Yes.
I think you might have to share another screen if you have, or another window.
Okay, hang on. Okay, I'm going to see about, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to go back and share, and I'm going to go to Safari, which is where I have the map. You guys got the map?
There it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Now we can
Okay.
see it, Janice.
All right. So on our webpage, we have a lot of maps, but here's one. I don't know what's happening to my map. And this little red thing is the center. And I'll go back and show you where you're going to find them. If you go to our webpage, which is, it's on the, if you've ever gotten any email from me, it's in there, the webpage for the CBC. And so you go right up here and you put in your address. So mine is 150 River Drive, Hadley. And then you have to sort of back up. You see it's found me, right?
Mhm.
And there I am here in the circle. So so I recommend that all of you do that to know for sure you're in the circle.
I can see on the map I am.
You're not in the circle?
I am.
Okay.
But what is
Southeast.
our circle called?
The circle is called the Mano Christmas Bird Count Circle. That's I think that's what it's called. It's just our circle. Really, that's how we say it. Okay?
I think I'm right on the edge.
So if you're right on the edge, keep going bigger and see where you are. Give me your address and I'll put it in.
184 Hadley Road, Sunderland.
Sunderland.
In north.
Really? Doesn't want to find it.
There it is. Just made it.
Just
Oh,
made it. Okay. Now this is important because for the whole idea of counting, this is the circle. This is where it's supposed to be in there. So, people say, well, is all of Sunderland in it? No, all of Sunderland is not. Anyway. All right. Good with that. Anybody else want me to check their address? All right. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to go back to sharing my PowerPoint. Okay. There's another circle. What is going on here? Okay, there's another, and I will share this. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go back and we're going to go to Safari.
Show the zones.
Pardon?
You're going to show the zones, maybe?
Yes.
Yes.
Fred?
So this is our web page, all right, for the CBC. Just as long as here, we have 2 pages. Let me go back. It's under trips, under Christmas bird count. We have this page, talks about where the center is, how to do stuff. And the second page has the maps and some forms.
Mhm.
So this is a great map that was made by 2 members of the club. And there you say, Janice, I can't tell how that's going to be, right? So you see these little circles here? These funny little circles?
Mm.
They're small. When you look at the map, you'll be able to see it, okay? But right under this, the center of that little circle, I gotta find, here, I see if there's no writing that comes under. It has a little number. And so that's area 21. And as you work with it, you learn more and more. But these are our areas. Our early compilers went nutso because, and we have 36 areas, way more than we need, right? Most Christmas bird counts have maybe 10. And then there may be subdivisions under there, but we have 36, which means we have 36 leaders. So these little circles here are all, we'll say the number of the area. So, and there, you can on this map also find out the same way, go up here and put in your address and it'll show you what you're in. I suggest you do that so you know what area you're in for the count, because we try to include your numbers with that area, the field team. So when we finalize everything. Good?
Okay.
Okay, can I move on?
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna go back to my PowerPoint. Okay. So now I worry about bears. Should I do this? If you're really worried about bears, don't put out your feeders. I'm just saying that. There are other things you can do. Here are some of
Right.
the options, okay? Throw out feed on the ground, your seeds on the ground. Someplace where or under trees that you have a good view that you can still see what's there
Right.
and count. Or other people put out their feeders for a few hours during the day and take them in. That's another option. If you haven't put out any feeders yet, one suggestion is to start putting out some seeds, some food a few days before the actual count. So you start attracting some birds. I know when I put out my feeders, it takes a day or two for like, oh, you're back, right? You got your food out. Okay, here we come. And the other is, if you can't do any of that, just count what you see on your bushes and trees.
Right.
It's all fine. So if you are worried about bears, please don't do that. You know, that's not going to be good.
Right.
Okay. I have a lot of black-capped chickadees. How many do I say I have? So who runs into that situation? Anybody, any of you have that over and over again?
Sure.
A lot of one bird. What kind? There's, I say black-capped chickadees, could be
Yeah.
something else. How do you count? How do you think you count?
I count as many times I see them, but then I just report the largest number, you know, that I saw at one time.
Exactly. That's exactly what you do. So you don't say I saw 2, then I saw 4, now that's 6, then I saw 3 more, now that's 9, then I saw 5 more, now that's 14. No, you do not report 14. You report the most you see at any one time. And then sometimes like, come on, one more, I want to get higher, and they don't come, right? So it's always the highest number that you see. So that's what you do with the birds, is how you count them. And if you start, you know, you're going to do it for a couple hours in the morning, and then you stop, you know, you say, okay, my most chickadees or my most white-throated sparrows are 3. Then you're waiting till the afternoon to see if you get a few more. And if you don't, then you stick with the 3, or whatever was that number. Okay. Any questions
Question.
about how? Yeah.
Yes. Hi.
Hi,
So,
Betsy.
you know, on Project Feeder Watch, if you have a male downy woodpecker and later you have a female, you're not supposed to count it as 2, which I've never really understood.
We don't follow that rule.
Oh, good. Okay, then.
Because we know, we can tell the difference between a male. I mean, you're going to know the difference between a male and female. And thanks for bringing that up, Betsy, because if you have birds like that, you know, okay, the chickadees are not one, but woodpeckers are one bird that you can see the difference in. You have male and female. What other birds do you have that you could see the difference that would make sense to count?
Bluebirds.
Bluebirds, okay.
Cardinals,
Cardinals,
house
Red-
finches.
house finches. What did you say, Susan?
Red-bellied woodpecker.
Red-bellied woodpeckers. So hear what I'm saying. You have birds that you can tell they're a male and female, then you count them, count the male and count the female. So like, I'm going to do it like this. So you saw 1, you saw a male cardinal. Later in the day, you saw a female cardinal. But each time you only saw 1, but you know there are 2 different birds you have because you had a male and a female. So you will report 2 because you know the difference. Does that answer your question, Betsy?
Yes, thank you.
Does everybody understand? So if you know the difference of the male and female and you see it, you want to count that you have 2 of that species, even though you saw them separately, one at a time. All right, moving on, if there's no more questions about counting. Any more questions on counting? No, okay. All right, so then those little finches come, right? And then we're like, I want it to be a purple finch, but I don't know for sure. Or it was hiding in the bushes and the limbs were in the way and I couldn't really tell, right? So what we say is most of us have a smartphone. Take a picture, send it to us, all right? And you can send it during the day. You don't need to wait. I think I've given all of you the poster that you don't have to print it as a poster that helps you look at the birds. Use a guidebook. And sometimes you have birds and you're like, I don't know what, in the end, I didn't know what it was. And so you can just say sparrow, finch, meaning it was a finch, but you don't know what kind. We accept that because we don't all, you know, I'm telling you, even the really good birders on our thing, there are birds they see and like, I don't really know what it was. I couldn't get, a handle on it. I couldn't see the right field marks. It happens. So don't worry. But more and more people are using their cameras, even if it's not a clear photo. Lots of times when we give it to some of the better birders, right, for IDing, they'll be able to ID from what you have. So don't worry about that. Have any of you taken pictures with your smartphones of birds around your feeders or on the ground? Yes, no?
I haven't because my phone apparently doesn't have the greatest of the cameras. So what I did, which I just have a old DSLR. I make sure the battery's charged, and I'll
Okay.
use that.
That's good too. So you can use a camera, and feel free to send them. So, when you send us your photos, and even if you say, well, it's just I like it. It was a good photo, because we want to include those. Okay. There is a feeder watcher Google form. And I'm not sure how many of you have completed one in the past or have completed a test one this year. Anybody want to speak about that? Okay, Vanessa, go for it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I completed it, I believe, yesterday,
Yes.
the test one.
Yeah,
The challenge that I found is that it requested which is your area, your
yep,
number. And I did, I because I had participated other year, I went to the website and I found the map.
yep.
So I figured that, but if somebody didn't know that until today, they would have not been able to, they would have put anything there, basically. I wanted to
Yes.
put real data.
Yeah. That's why I wanted you to see find out what area you're in so you can put that in. And if you say, I'm still not sure about it, email me and we'll get you set up so you know the area you're in before you start. So the Google form, basically, we've tried to make it as simple as possible. All right. But this year, the feeder form is much larger than it was in the past. And I am going to stop sharing. I'm going to go get, let me see. Okay. All right, so I think you can see can you see the form?
We can see the form, Janice.
Okay. So it looks complicated, but it's not, right? We've tried to make it so here you're going to start out. It says there's 8 sections. There's a beginning part where you need to put your name and email in. We want to know about the birds you saw at your feeder. Again, we say mono. Remember, like I said, Massachusetts, Northampton. If you saw unusual species, I have to tell you honestly that happens less for feeder watchers than for the teams out in the field, but it has happened. And the biggest thing is if you have nothing to report, just leave it blank and move on. You do not need to put in zeros. So here's right where it starts right here. You're going to put your area in. And again, as I said, if you're unsure, write me, email me, and we'll help you get it so you start off. If there's 2 or 3 or 4 of you in the house or in your yard who are observing, put all their names down. And then again, this has to be the date of submission. And then we start with the birds. Okay, they're in taxonomic order, matching eBird. So, many of you feeder watchers are not going to have any geese, all right, unless you happen to be seeing them fly over your house. I'm just saying So you just keep going. Oh, I didn't have that. I didn't have that. I didn't have that. I didn't have that. You just go, scroll down. This is pretty painless, I think, right? And then you say, oh, Janice, why does this look so complicated? If you happen to be outside or happen to be looking out your window and you have a turkey vulture, at this time in Massachusetts, in our area, a turkey vulture is considered a rare bird. So you have to do some extra work. All right. You have to fill out a rare bird, which is right here. You're going to be able to click on this and the rare bird form will come up and you can fill it out. And then you need to describe it. Why was it a turkey vulture? Why wasn't it a bald eagle? Why wasn't it wasn't, you have to just explain. Then here's Vanessa with her Northern Harrier. And this, you say, Janice, why do we have so many that we're going through? This might be the first area that you're going to really start being able to put something in. And the reason your form is so long this year is for those of us who are doing the compiling to have both the field form and the feeder form match. Then we can just copy and paste into an Excel spreadsheet and boom, add. So you're just going to keep going down. And on these long ones, it means it's a rare bird. And so you got to do some work. And we will ask you if you say, I'm sure it was this. Well, you need to tell us why you really think it's that. And I have to tell you, in our CBC, sometimes we've accepted the rare birds and sometimes we say no. We don't think it was. We don't have enough to say. So it's okay. So that you go down, rare birds, then here's, this is usually truer of the field people, but here in Hadley, from my house, I can see all these flights of crows. In the morning, the crows go north, right? And in the evening, the other day, I think I had 150 flying over my house, okay? Now, they weren't necessarily at my feeder, but you can count them, but you need to count them. I mean, one time I was outside and we got up to 285. But it was like, oh my God, right? So there are a few things in here that it's likely you could have. If you see, the other thing is, like we said, the Harrier, you want to say how many you saw and what kind of time. We gave you an example if that was true for you. Here's that crow thing, all right? 9:15, I saw 200 crows. They were going north. We use military time. So we say at 15:30, there were 425 crows, looked like they were heading back for Springfield. And there's a roost in Springfield, 10,000 crows roost there, 10,000. And hopefully the bird club will have a field trip down there. It's like, oh my God, you're like, besides bird poop everywhere, but just crows, crows, crows. Then the last part is if you have something unusual that wasn't on the list anywhere, like a couple years ago, there was a sage thrasher that happened to be in your yard, then here's where you're going to put. If you had a warbler every now and then, if you were like in Miller's Falls and they have the rufous hummingbird, right? Here's where you're going to put it. There's a bird that's not on the list anywhere. I need to write it in here, right up here. And please, please, please take the picture if you had the rufous. And then we get down to mammals and critters. Maybe your squirrels, you have rabbits, possums. These are the ones we typically have list here, but you might have something else. One time somebody put down they had a woolly bear. So it was like, they had a what? They had a woolly bear. All right, that's okay, put it down. It's like, what do we see that day? And then the last section, which is also super important, is your effort. And this is really the amount of time you spent doing this. So, it's not rocket science. It's more complicated for those in the field because they have their teams starting and stopping at different times. And sometimes they're in the car, sometimes they're walking. So here you just want to put the number of feeder watchers. How many were there of you? 2, 3, 1, right? and how much time did you spend? You might have added up, said I spent an hour in the morning, I spent a half hour, during lunchtime, and I spent another hour in the afternoon. So that's 2.5 hours, and that's all you put in, and you're done. So again, how many were there of you? And that should match up on the top, way up at the beginning. And how long did you look? And it's okay to start and stop. And you don't need to give us all the little, we stopped this time, we had lunch, or, we went to the store. No, just give us the total. Well, I want to make it as simple as possible for you. Questions on reporting how long you did it? How long you watched? No? Okay. And then,
I have a question.
yes, sure, Ray.
Let's say you have 2 people and you're there for 3 hours. Do you count 6 hours or 3 hours?
Yes. You say 2 people and we watch for 3 hours and I'll know to multiply it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so what happens next? You submit it, it comes in, we start the compiling. We got about 60 people that we need to get all their data in, and then it pops up. I'll show you how it's gonna, oh no, this hasn't come up yet. It pops up in an Excel spreadsheet, and then we have to transpose and etc. But the big thing here is at the Monday night, on the 19th from 7 to 9 is a compilation meeting where we kind of go over what happened, what were the great things that we saw, and people can tell little stories. Because some point in time somebody said the best thing that happened was they saw bobcats chasing deer. I was like, forget the birds. It was like other things were going on. And so we're as interested in those. It doesn't have to be only the birds, right? Sometimes they're, or like when the person had the woolly bear, it was like, a woolly bear, really? So, okay, any questions on the form?
Yeah, how do we get to it?
So if you want to look at a practice one, I'll send you one now. And on the 17th, and in the afternoon, I'll send you the official one for the next day.
And Janice, what's the starting and stop time of the count on the 19th exactly?
The count is, the count is on the 18th, Sunday, from midnight to midnight.
Okay.
You can't count anything on Saturday. You can't count anything on Monday.
Okay.
And the meeting, giving us sort of the totals, will be on Monday evening.
Is that going to be on Zoom, or is it going
Yes,
to be the
It'll
meeting?
be on Zoom. And we're just gonna, I'll blast out to all of you, whether you don't have to sign up. We're just gonna blast out, here's the link.
You go over the section where, for example, you had the geese that fly over, because there was like some time there.
Yep,
So basically for those, we have to note the time.
yeah, because the reason we do this is we have geese flying across the river, right? And based upon where you are we talking about the same geese? Back and forth. One time I was down, I'm like right near the river, and I look up and here come 4 snow geese flying over. Well, the people on the other side of the river had counted these same 4 snow geese, right? So you're trying to look and say, there weren't 8 snow geese, there were only 4. And likewise with the geese. So if you say, I had like 250 fly over, and somebody, then we start looking at where are you, Vanessa, versus where did somebody else have that many? Was it the same? Was it probably the same ones? And it doesn't mean you're going to change your numbers. What it does is for us, the compilers, when we report to the National Audubon, we say, we have to take it down, that in our area, this many was seen.
Thank you.
Yeah, follow, because like last year we had 12 black vultures, right? Well, we didn't have 12 black vultures. We had 4 black vultures that flew across 3 areas, all right? Each area saw them, right? So they get to claim them. but when we report nationally what was in our area, we say there were only 4. Those were like going back and forth. Any other questions on the form? Okay, and now go back. Okay, we're near the end. Are there questions? Other
How do
questions?
How do we send the form back to you?
On the bottom of the form, it says submit, boom, and you just
Oh,
go.
okay,
You'll
great,
just go.
great. Thank you.
And I want to find the where I am. I know where I am, but I need to look it up on on the map. And
Okay,
so where can I get to the map? I guess is what I'm asking.
okay. So let me stop sharing. Am I driving you crazy as I go back and forth? Right?
No?
We'll go back to Safari
Okay.
and
Oh, healthcare.
I know there's a, okay. So here is the CBC pages on the Hampshire Bird Club page. Okay. So it's just type in Hampshire Bird Club.
Okay.
Have all of you been to the page at some point? The Hampshire Bird Club page?
Yeah.
Web page? Okay. So here under trips is where
Oh, yeah.
Christmas bird count is. So there are 2 pages. This one has what happened last year. And at the bottom is the link to the forms, leaders, and the maps.
Okay, great.
So let me go like this. And I'm going to put this link in the chat.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Oh, very nice.
Now, who was looking for? Give me your address. Let's see.
Me? I'll give you mine.
Yeah.
95 Leverett Road. And I know I'm on the brink. I know I'm okay, but I'm on the brink. It's up in the upper right-hand side.
Okay. See, there's your house.
Oh, wow. What a surprise.
So, okay. So here, then you have to back out. Okay. Because it's like it has zoomed in. So you go
Yeah.
down here to the bottom and you see the plus and the minus. Everybody see the plus and the minus?
Yeah.
And so you got to go to the minus to say, I got to get it smaller because I got to see where she is.
Yeah, I'm barely in. I know that.
I know you're barely in, but you're in. Okay. So here is
Oh, yeah.
this little circle that
Leverett
says,
Road.
it
Leverett Road.
says you're in 2.
Hmm.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that
Area
would be
2.
right. That would be right. Leverett, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to do another?
Sure.
So
I mean, this is, go ahead.
1660 Southeast Street in Amherst.
You know.
Okay.
Yep,
Look familiar?
yep.
Okay. So we know she's in the circle because these lines were like, so you are in area 14.
14?
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else?
Okay, so. Gosh. How many
Everybody-
are there?
I'll give you
How
mine.
many what?
No, I was just wondering how many different things were there? There were a lot. How many?
36.
There are 36 areas.
Wow.
I know, it's insane.
Yeah.
Because we now need to have somebody in charge of each one. And so we're trying to, which, and so we're trying to get people to, can they do 2 if one opens? All right, somebody wanted, if an area opens up, somebody wanted their address checked out. What is it?
I think that was Anne.
Yes, my address is 339 Spencer Drive. I think I'm in 34.
There you are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Yep, 34.
yep, good.
And it's like they're odd shaped, right? Like,
Yeah.
Very.
and so I'll give you an example. Somebody was saying to me the other day, the people who have this area, look at this shape here, over here, back here, and then over here. And they said, Janice, how can we get to this? This is a little bit on the Connecticut. How can we get there? I'm like, how am I going to know how you're going to get there? So, you zoom in on these maps and you look at and you say, is there a road? Is there some way? Anyway, you do a lot of goofy stuff to try and see how could they have access to the river. And this is where the people who have access to the river, it's like, I'll show you my area, okay?
Clothing.
I'm here. This is all me. 3. Okay. So this is where I said I saw the geese, but they'd been on this side of the river. And that group counted them. So they said they had 4 snow geese. And
Right.
then, things change. Then they don't give you access. Somebody had permission and they say no. Anyway, I'm getting off the subject. Okay. Other
Thank you.
questions? Other questions?
I just say the maps are incredibly wonderful.
Yeah,
They
this,
really are.
yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you.
You
for your
know,
work.
Well, when it first started, they were all topo maps and those sort, and it was, you couldn't blow them up. They were like exact like that. And so this map that this Kevin Barnes did was like, whoa.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's super.
I mean, I'd like to take off most of the other maps and just say, let's just use that one because it stays current because Google's, if they update it, it stays current. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin and I work together. We're both GIS
Oh.
mapping specialists. So
Tell him how much it's like. He's like, then he talked about, could he put in public land? We were talking about putting in public land on it, marking it in a different color so people
yeah.
could see. Because, you say, well, I don't guess I can't go there. But if you saw it on the map and you saw it as state land or it's something like, oh, okay, maybe, right?
Yeah, that's possible.
So, and the other thing I want to say to you, if you have neighbors who also want to do a feeder, you think, right? You could help them. We can do that. Or if you know anybody who also wants to participate on a team, because we have some, last night we found 3 people on one team, including Kevin. All right. Can't do it the day of the count. And he was all scheduled to do it. He was like, oh no, I thought it was Saturday. Right?
Yeah.
So. Okay. Any other questions?
I don't know.
Thank you. very
Thank
much.
you.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question.
Yes, Vanessa.
It might not have any bearing on this, but I noticed there's an owling map. Can you just briefly talk about that?
Oh, Vanessa.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, if it's not pertinent, just leave it.
No. Here's the deal. There is an owling map. This is how the maps, can you see that, everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is how the map initially was. And this was great that they had the map like this. And so they made all these areas for owling, for different areas. And it's sort of fallen on the wayside because if you have like this, I'm area 3, but here it shows like somebody's got all this area to owl in, right? And so we're in a process of trying to say, if you're area 36, you owl area 36 versus all these other areas. And this shows like area 7, nobody's owling. So every now and then I get people say, I want to owl somewhere. And so I give them an area where I think nobody else is. But our owling isn't great. I have to say, our owling setup isn't great. We have people who owl, and we've had 50, 60 screech owls found in one night.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We have some fantastic owlers. a woman named Heidi Stemple, who her father taught her to owl. And she, if any of you are familiar with the book Owl Moon, a children's book, her mother wrote that book, and she's the little girl in the book. And so her father, they live over here. Where's the river? I gotta find the river. This must be the river. Anyway, she has an area, she only owls at night. She only does like midnight to 7 a.m. And she has gotten that many owls.
Wow.
And then somebody else birds it during the day for the count.
Wow.
But people go out owling. There's several groups that go out, and you know, they get stuck. They like text me in the middle of the night, Janice, we're stuck. You know, can you find a tow truck to drag us out? And I'm like, no, I can't really do that. That's, but so then one night they were stuck on this side, on the Hadley side of the river, stuck in the mud. But they heard the people on the other side. They knew they were owling. Heidi and her group was owling, and so they texted them, and those folks came over and got them out. Right. So there's a real bonding amongst the owlers.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just a different group, like the bird feeder
Yeah,
counters and the owler counters, and okay, I
yeah.
understand. Thank you.
The owlers usually are like on my team. There's an owler, right? And the owls just get included in our count, our area's count for the day.
Great.
Any other questions?
I have no other question. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, okay. I hope this was helpful.
It was. Thank you very
Very
much.
So,
Thank you.
All
a
right.
lot.
Thank you.
Okay. Good luck on you're watching your feeders. And if you're really fearful of bears, don't bother. You know, don't put out stuff. Don't get in trouble.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
hi,
Bye
Janice.
bye.
I have a tidbit on bears. We've been feeding the birds in our backyard for years, and we've also been contending with the bears. So what we've learned is the bears are very clever. They also have a great memory. So what we're down to, they're like a kid with a paper route. They come back to the same place every year. But what we found is that we put the feed now only enough that the birds will eat in an hour or two. And we
Okay.
put it along our deck railing. We just make like a fine line of bird seed along the railing, and only enough that the birds will eat in an hour or two. We do that each day, and we have the same birds coming back every day. So when I open my deck door,
Get
they're
in.
watching for me.
That's a
So
great suggestion.
if I
We'll
can
pass that along.
put some seed out ahead of time and only enough for the birds to have in an hour or two, and then the bears will have nothing to look for. So that's worked pretty well.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. And you know, you have questions you need to know. You take a picture, send it to us. Even if it's a bird you know, but send us pictures.
Thank you very much, Janice.
Okay. You're welcome. Bye-bye.